Hello and welcome everyone. We are so glad you're here. We're especially super glad that you're here for this session with Sharon. I'm going to tell you 30 seconds of information about Sharon and then you get 20 full minutes of content. I'm Senya, this is Sharon Dangzer, and she has written this incredible book called, she didn't know I had it in my hands, called Super Productive. It says 120 strategies, and it's literally, I mean, it's dense with things that you can open it up and say, oh, I should try that today. Oh, right, I should remember to do that today. So we love Sharon. Sharon's clients love Sharon. Sharon is just, we're very excited that Sharon is here. She's one of our coaches and she's going to talk to us about productivity. So now she'll be sharing her screen and this will be 20 minutes of content, and at the end we'll have Q&A. So feel free to type in your Q&A at any point. She may answer some during the middle as well. Sharon, all you. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thanks so much, Senya. All right, so let's get this PowerPoint up with some fun slides. So today in the next 20 minutes, I want to share with you some strategies on how you can create some structure to successfully work from home. And just as a heads up, there are great programs every day through Silicon Valley Coaching. I will be coming back on April 6th for a second part of this, which talks about connection and well-being as well while you're working from home. But for today, we're going to focus on structure. So the first thing I thought I would mention, and which you're probably all aware of, is that when we were in normal times a month ago, and you were going to work, you probably had some kind of morning routine. And to the extent that you can think about the things that you were doing and maintain those routines, it signals your brain that it's a day when you should be paying attention and focusing. So things like waking up as if you were going to the office, getting out of our pajamas, I'm sorry to say, taking a shower and putting on clothes. And for those of you who have the new challenge of kids who are homeschooling, they also are used to having a morning routine. So you might want to check in with them and ask, you know, when you were going to school, what 2 or 3 things were you doing every morning? And you might find that they answer, well, I was making my bed, we hope. And then I would take a snack from the snack drawer and put it in my backpack. I'd give you a kiss on the cheek, and then I would get on the bus to go to school. Well, the truth is, other than getting on the bus to go to school, they could still do those other things. And those things for them will train their brain and prime their brain to know that it's a day where they have to do schoolwork. So think of 2 or 3 things that you can use to signal your brain that it's time to work, focus, and pay attention. I will share with you that over the past couple of weeks, as I've been sharing this information with people, one person mentioned that when they go to work, they bring their travel coffee mug. So there's really no reason why you can't use that at home as well. It's just something that's part of that daily routine. And other people actually will leave the door of their house, walk out and come back in to signal that now they're doing something different. So really the idea here is to find out what is best for you to give that message to your brain that it's time to focus and pay attention. When it comes to where you work in your home, in an ideal situation, and I realize these are less than ideal times, you'd like to have a dedicated workspace. For some people, that just might be a folding desk that you put up for the day and you put away at the end of the day. One drawback to us working from home, it means that we are often sitting for much longer than we're used to. So having some kind of portable standing desk, which you can get on Amazon for about $40 or $50, mixes things up a little so that you're standing part of the day instead of sitting all day long. And there's this expression that sitting is the new smoking. And so even for people who are getting regular cardio exercise, sitting for long periods of time has some bad results. If you are now working in a space where there are other people around and there's a lot of noise, you can think about noise canceling headphones or even headphones where you're listening to music. One word of caution is there's one part of our brain that's processing language. And whether it's reading, writing, or listening, it's all the same part of the brain. And that's why they usually suggest that you don't listen to music with lyrics while you're studying, or if you're working from home while you're reading or writing. So classical music is great. Or if you go on YouTube and search music to focus, there are long playlists. And some people have told me that they have no problem listening to music with lyrics. And it could be that they're so familiar with the lyrics that they're not really focused on them. For me, I think you need to find what works best for you. Funny story, someone shared with me that she was working in an open floor plan, writing an email, listening to music to drown out the noise. And when she proofread the email, she found that she had typed out the words to the song she was listening to. So I thought that that was a good indication that our brain really has trouble doing both. And now is a great time to pull on our strength of creativity. If you're working with other people in the home, you might want to come up with some kind of signal that it is not a great time to be interrupted. When you're doing your deepest work, it's really hard to start and stop. So you might want to just print out something as simple as a stoplight and put a Post-it note on the red for when it's not a great time to be interrupted. So when I was putting this together, I was thinking about what has gotten in the way of me being my most productive, because I've been working from home for many years. And the first thing that came to mind, it often surprises people, but I actually enjoy playing video games, and that can be a big, big time suck. So that's one thing that can get in the way. I also used to have my desk set up not so strategically. If I looked over into the other room, I would see the big screen TV in the family room. And I realized that when I was preparing to do hard work or something that I didn't really love the idea of doing, I would look over to the screen and start daydreaming about the Netflix binge watching I could do. I've since relocated my desk. Working from home also means that the kitchen is handy, and if you like snacking, that can get in the way. Some of us have no choice, and right now we're working from bedrooms, and looking over that bed can seem really, really tempting. And the truth is, we are all experiencing, whether we're totally aware of it or not, an underlying stress that we did not have before. And stress can make us sleepier and more tired. So don't be surprised if your body is craving a little extra sleep. And then, of course, those with small children at home definitely have an even greater challenge, because now, in addition to working, they also have become their kids' teacher. So how can you structure your day to get more work done? Well, the first thing, and this is actually one of my favorite strategies, even if you're working in an office, is to plan your day the night before. This helps you prioritize. And when you put your head on the pillow at night, you don't get that thing where your brain starts going and thinking, what's coming tomorrow? What do I have to work on? I can't go to sleep because I don't know what to expect when I wake up tomorrow. So when you have your day planned, you actually end up sleeping better. It's also great if you're able to match your hardest work with the time of day when you do your best work, what I refer to as your window of peak performance. For those of you who might have really small children who are napping, I highly recommend using nap time as that window to do your hard work, rather than something like laundry. There's a technique called the Pomodoro technique, which you may have heard of before, and that's 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly 25 minutes or exactly 5 minutes. The idea here is to take regular breaks at intervals. So find out for yourself how long you can stay really focused before a break helps your brain reset. And if you have other people working from home and you can all be on that same Pomodoro system, it's an amazing opportunity to all be working at the same time and taking breaks at the same time. And I will challenge you, if you try it during those breaks, at least some of them, try to do some kind of movement. If you have young kids, do a 5-minute dance party. Jumping jacks, jump rope, any kind of movement is a great opportunity during the day. For those of you with kids, we know that kids just have a ton of energy. So the more opportunity for them to move, the better. And then lastly, be sure to hydrate, drink plenty of water. It's great for our immune system. And many of us have gotten into the bad habit of eating lunch at our desk. So while we're restructuring how we work, while we're working from home, think about maybe changing this to a better habit of taking an actual break for lunch. So the same way you're creating structure for your day, it's also great to create some structure for your kids' day. And they can totally be involved in how you do that. And remember, little kids love to do what their parents are doing. So if you tell them that you're going to be working for 25 minutes and then taking a break, and they can view their schoolwork as if they're coming to work with you, they're going to just love that idea. As they get older, not so much, but it's really the little ones that require much more supervision and attention. So how can you reduce the temptation of things that you have in your home that you don't have at work? How can you resist the siren's call to binge on Netflix or all those delicious comfort foods you bought when you found out you had to be quarantined, social media, video games? It's really hard. My suggestion is to create some boundaries and rules for yourself and perhaps for your family collectively. Maybe you jointly decide, because if you're trying to get work done and somebody is playing video games in the room next door, that's going to be really, really challenging. For me, I decided one of the best rules that I made for myself was I simply do not watch TV until after dinner. Dinner for me is my transition from my work day to my home day, even though I'm in the same place. And so while I really do enjoy binge watching on Netflix, it's not happening until after dinner. Also, we have a huge influx of information coming at us around information concerning the coronavirus. So not only is it coming in constantly, but it's also fairly negative. So for two reasons, you'd like to limit that. One is so much negative information is really going to drag you down and make it really hard to focus. And the other is it's just distracting and interrupting you from getting any work done. So airplane mode is an amazing feature to get deep work done, and even turning off your notifications. So notifications on your computer were built in at a time when we needed a reminder to check our email. That's really no longer the case. So use those as tools so that you are distracted less often. And then lastly, the same way we had something at the beginning of the day telling our brain that it's time to work and focus, it's great to have some kind of routine at the end of the day for the same reason, to trigger to your brain, prime your brain that it's time to rest and relax. So it could be that idea of taking the last 10 minutes of your day planning for tomorrow, where you go through your to-do list and you go through your calendar and you figure out what's what. Or if you have the luxury of working in a separate room in your house, it could be as simple as shutting off the light and closing the door, or even shutting down your computer for the night. All of those things, if you make it somewhat of a ritual at the end of each workday, will prime your brain to know that it's time to rest. So that's pretty much all that I had for the strategies for working successfully from home as they relate to structure. I'm going to go through them now one by one as a quick reminder. And my hope is that you'll be able to pull away one or two, really the low-hanging fruit where you think, oh, that's pretty easy to do. I can do that. And it's going to have a positive impact on my situation. So the first is to wake up as if you're going to the office. Get out of your pajamas, take a shower, put on clothes. Create a morning routine that will prime your brain to let it know that it's time to pay attention and focus. Dedicate a workspace in your home. If you find yourself sitting for too long, consider a standing desk or headphones to drown out noise. What gets in the way? What are your obstacles to being productive working from home? And what boundaries or rules can you create that will help you with that? Plan your day the night before. Match your hardest work with the time of day when you work best, with your window of peak performance. And take breaks. Try using the Pomodoro technique and see if you can cycle between concentrated focus time and then a short break, adding in some activity whenever possible. And don't forget to hydrate, drink plenty of water, and take a lunch break. Taking a lunch break is also an opportunity. You can socialize with people in your home or have a virtual lunch with a family member that doesn't live in your house, or a friend, or maybe a senior citizen who might be feeling very alone. Create an end of day routine that will prime your brain that it's time to rest and relax. So these are the 12 strategies that we've covered today. Pick just one or two. There's always time to go back and grab more, but it's easiest for us to change one small thing at a time. So let's see what questions we have. Senya, do you want to share with me what's been showing up in the chat box?
Yes, two main things have been showing up in the chat box. One is people are loving your airplane mode. So some people are
Good.
replying, I have tried it, I swear by it, I have to do it. And other people are saying, why have I never thought about that? Why do I only use that on airplanes? And I'll definitely give it a try. So that seems like it struck a nerve. And then one person said, love the Pomodoro method, just learned about it this year and find it super effective.
Fantastic. Are there any other questions?
What questions do you have for Sharon? And Sharon, could you put up your last slide, the one with the things people can try? And I'd also love to ask people, what are you going to try? Of these, which one do you want to try? What's something that's just a little new, or like Sharon said, the low-hanging fruit? So 2 questions for you. Which of these will you be trying? And what's a question you have for Sharon, which you can put into the chat or the Q&A, anywhere. We're easygoing here. I'll go first as people are typing. I'm at a standing desk right now, but my sitting desk, just like your Netflix, TV, and your video games, it's always so tempting. So for video calls, I'll get on my standing desk, but I will do more of your number 5, but just use it. I have it, but actually use it more.
That's great.
Okay, some questions are coming in. By the way, about the going to look at your the non-airplane mode, one person wrote, I get a dopamine hit every time I hear my phone go off. So I find it hard to resist the temptation to look. So that's why they're so glad to actually use airplane mode. Okay, here's a question. What one thing do you personally do every single day that has the greatest impact on your productivity?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I have to say, I have been putting my coffee into my travel mug as a signal that, that this is sort of a work day, and it keeps it hot, and I like to have a lot of coffee. So I think that definitely helps. And also, hard and fast rule, unless it's pouring rain out, I get outside to run or walk for about 2 miles, and I actually schedule it into my day. And last week, there was one day that was really rainy. I did not get out. And then the next day it was raining also. And thankfully it cleared up. Not that you can't walk in the rain. I don't know where that idea came from, but somehow I'm less inclined. And as soon as it cleared up, I went outside. So some people are on lockdown where they're not actually allowed to go outside. And I don't know if people who are on the call are in that situation. That certainly is extremely challenging. While you are in a place where you can still get outside, I would absolutely take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One person is saying that they really love the idea of planning their day the night before and are hoping that will also help them with their sleep. They like that comment that you made.
I think so, especially if you end up getting a little anxious about what's to come. If you know and you have that plan in place, I think there's something in our brain that is a little more settled. I've been doing that actually for years and teaching it for years to people in terms of how they can be more productive. And part of the benefit of doing that is it forces you to look at your day and what you already have scheduled so that you can be realistic about what's on your to-do list to get done that day. Mm-hmm. Because very often, if not almost always, there's more on our to-do list than could actually get done in a day.
No, you don't say. No. Sharon, could you not share screen, and then we'll keep bouncing questions at you. So here are at least 3 in queue. Here's one question. Could you address this obstacle to productivity? What if I have 2 young kids who need attention a lot, and specifically the who need attention a lot?
So that I think having small children at home at this time is probably the #1 most challenging situation, because the childcare options are limited at best and probably don't exist. So if there's another adult in your house, if there's a way to create a schedule where you tag team so you know you have some uninterrupted time, and then to use that time really wisely so that you get your hardest work done, I think that's a great strategy. If they're really young and they're napping, that's a good time. And then while, it might not be viewed as the best parenting move to put them in front of a screen, at the end of the day, this is a crisis. I'm all for do what you need to do. So that's my 2 cents.
At least 3 options.
Right. And I will say, I do the children in that picture, the small children on the grass, are mine, but about 16 years ago. So I feel your pain.
Okay, here's a question. How do we replace the intangibles of being at a workplace? The coffee machine, the bumping into people, etc.
So that's so relevant and important because we are feeling isolated and alone, and we are humans. We like human connection. And I'm happy to answer that question. There will be much more about that on April 6th when I talk about connecting while you're working from home. But I think generally it's staying as connected as you can with your colleagues because you're used to seeing them in the office. So using Zoom is a great feature, FaceTime. I definitely am a proponent of using video whenever possible. I think it's a different experience than just the audio, but even just the audio is fine. And outside of colleagues, family, friends, I think many people have found that they are reconnecting with people they have been out of touch with for years. My husband, who was really into theater in high school, actually had a Zoom call last week with 14 people, and they did some kind of karaoke. He had a ball. He had not been in touch with these people for years. So anything that you can do that's going to generate that positive emotion and connection from seeing people, even if you're not physically with them, I think is going to really sort of help you through this time.
My high school had a high school reunion on, and I'm following examples of you. You've told me that your family, you have 17, 19 people on a family Zoom call these past couple of weeks.
Yes, every Friday evening at 6:30, my brothers and their kids and my kids, we all get together where, we're all spread out around the country. And I think we had over 20 on the last call. And it's really nice. And I'm going to miss that when we are allowed out of the house, to tell you the truth.
That's true, actually. My high school has never, in all the time that we've been on Facebook or wherever it is, we've never done that other than, but it's also sobering. Out of the 16 we had on, 3 either had the coronavirus or had it. So and we're from all over. So it's intense just to even see. Sure. Here's a question. Is there any analysis on when people's peak performance is? This person has always heard that it was in the morning, but any research to back that up?
So I think the research indicates that 40% of the people are natural, what are they, larks, they call them, larks. And then 30% might be owls and 40% are somewhere in between. And I think based on the way most work schedules work, people are often pushed into a situation where they're kind of forced to be a lark, even though they might not naturally be one based on their natural circadian rhythms. But it's really a very personal thing. And you can use this time at home to kind of get a better sense and pay more attention to what time of day or after what kind of activity that you're doing, do you get your best work done. I know for me that right after I exercise, my brain is on fire, ready to go, and I get so much hard work done really fast. So I think for everyone, it might be different. Some people tell me that after they work out, they feel very sluggish and tired.
What about when you're working with a team? Let's say you run a team or you're a member of a team. How do you know how other people are doing productivity-wise? Like, what is your version of the 5-minute huddle, if there is one? Or what do you think are the right kinds of questions to ask your team? So you're not micromanaging, but so that you also have a sense of what's going on.
So I think for people who are managing teams, rather than focusing on the productivity, I would focus on their emotional and mental well-being now, and sort of a check-in, like, how are you doing in a one-on-one? I think people now more than ever, emotional intelligence is super important, and validating and acknowledging how people are feeling. There's a very wide range of how people are reacting to the coronavirus, and they're all right. However somebody is feeling, that's right. And what we do know from research is that when you can label an emotion, it actually reduces the intensity and duration of that negative feeling. And that's really important. I found for myself about 3 weeks ago, so as a productivity consultant, you can imagine I liked things in order, I like to plan, and I do okay with a little uncertainty. I don't do so well with a lot of uncertainty. So if you back up where we are to 3 weeks ago, there was a ton of uncertainty. And I became a little unhinged, I gotta be honest. I was really anxious and I thought, what is going on? And, when I sat with myself for a little bit, I realized I was anxious because there was a lot of uncertainty. And for me, that causes stress. I can't plan my way out of something that is completely unknown. But as I spoke to other people about it and was honest about how I was feeling, and people shared with me how they were feeling, and I was able to listen and acknowledge and validate how they were feeling. All of that really helped me. So I think it's just really important that we be empathetic of how other people are feeling, even if that's not exactly how we're responding to the situation.
So really just ask more about the person than about what is the work that we're all getting done together.
Right. And I think the once you can sort of find your grounding, your emotional grounding, I think the work will come.
Okay, we've got 2 comments for you. One is, love the suggestion about getting small kids on your program. So, just that whole mom's working or dad's working and here's how you work. Any suggestions that may resonate with teens?
I've got a lot of those.
Wait, you have a lot of teens or you have a lot of suggestions?
No, a lot of teens. I could use some suggestions. Well, so right now I only have one at home who's 17. And she's been fantastic. She's in school basically in the morning, but every afternoon she's just being incredibly active. So fortunately, she likes that. So she's gone out bike riding at a distance with a friend. She goes out running. She goes out walking. But she wants to come out of this feeling really fit and good about herself, not like she's been sitting on the couch binge watching Netflix and, eating bonbons. Not that we have bonbons in the house, but you
She's
get the
daughter of her mom. She's like, what can I do this time? I have to do this. What can I do?
Yeah. So, and then with the little kids, one thing that I was thinking that could be really creative, if they buy into this idea of going to work with you, I would make them like a little fake employee ID. Just for fun,
I've been meaning just to write on LinkedIn or Twitter. I think it's April 23rd this year or somewhere around then. It's take your kids to work day. Every day is take your kids to work day. I would be surprised if mine, you'll probably see heads coming in. So every day is take your kids to work. All right, we have another comment for you. It's this. When your environment is the same all day, the lines get blurred regarding what your role is at any moment. For example, you could be working and unavailable, but being in the same space. You could be relaxing and be able to socialize. So it's just tricky. I'm talking about not being distracted by kids while you're working. And so the last thing this person said is, it's important to set those routines and to help us create that mental transition, like you were saying, the boundaries.
I think one danger is if you don't do that, it's really the danger is that you end up working all the time and your brain never gets to relax.
One last question to our viewers in the last minute, which is, would you please write down what your takeaway is from today? Whether it's the things that Sharon had as the small tweaks, the low-hanging fruit that you can take and use, or whether it's something else that you got, a thought you had, something Sharon said, a thought you had. So please give us a few of those. We will, somebody wrote a note. One big thing is just lock kids outside your door. Okay, so here are some comments. People are liking the don't wear your pajamas room. Some people are saying structure. One person saying structure is good. Then we had on Facebook, which is concurrent with this, a lot of people are liking suggestion 7, which is plan your day in the evening before the next day. All right, we're going to leave the last word to you, Sharon. Hydrate. People are liking hydrate. They're liking that routines are even more important now in the work from home timing, to take breaks, to make the transitions even more seamless. And then people are just saying, thank you for your wisdom. And the takeaway is to send the webinar link to his entire team, as this was fantastic, short, concise, and helpful. We leave the last word.
Well, that made my day. That made my day. Just stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, so much. All the best.